Our outward actions express the inward transformation that happens when we arrive at the meaning intended by the divine author. As we sit and understand God's word and pray for his activity in our life as we read it, then what happens is it changes us inwardly, but that has an outward expression. Because it now changes the way that we treat others, it changes the way that we view others, it changes the way that we see this world. The Bible must be held in high regard in your life. God's word is meant to change us, that we would begin to live differently in light of God's truth. Yesterday, my family and I, we celebrated my mom's life. She passed away about 10 days ago, and we got to share amazing stories and memories of her life, and we got to laugh about some of those little idiosyncrasies that we all hold. My mom had a lot of quirks, and she was always rearranging the house, for instance, right? She loved to move furniture around. It was kind of her thing. And so things were never in the same place. You would, like, if you walked in and just tried to sit down in a chair that you knew was there yesterday, it's not going to be there. It'll be in another room entirely. Would come over and be like, the silverware used to be here. Where'd you move it? It's like, oh, it's over here now. Why? I wanted it over there. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But pictures were always in a different room and in a different place. I cannot tell you the number of times my mom said, as long as your friends are here, I owe them like chiropractic bills for all this stuff that they've moved, right? Because it would be like, can you go to the basement, get the treadmill, bring it upstairs? I'm like, why? It's used for hanging laundry. Like, there's just clothes drying on. Nobody's walking on it. Nobody runs. So it's got to go to the second floor. And we get it up there, and we get it situated, put it back together, because this is like in the 80s, so it's 6,000 pounds. And so it's situated, and nobody can stand up straight. And she goes, can you move it down to the den instead? So it's got to go down another floor, and so taken apart and dismantled. But that was my mom. And one of her best quirks was that she ruthlessly invited the stranger. She ruthlessly invited people to embrace family and to be embraced as family. She always wanted people to be part of her family. My buddy Kyle called me from North Carolina when he heard the news that she had passed, and his first comment was, at first, I'm sorry, but then he said, I remember spending Easter with your family. It was his first year in Chicago, being on staff at Willow Creek Church with me, and I said, if you got nowhere to go, you can come hang out with our family, because it's kind of what we do. And so there he was, and he wasn't treated like a guest. He was treated like family. My dad and my mom did everything to go out of their way to make sure that he felt accepted and welcomed. She might have asked him to move some furniture around just to really make sure that he was feeling right at home. But all my siblings have invited people. We have pictures, and they go, who is this in your family? Like, it's not. It's somebody my brother brought to dinner. This is somebody that my sister brought. And just the mom never hesitated and was always willing to make room for people at the table so that someone could feel at home. My mom encouraged us to live that out, to live out the second greatest commandment of loving people as yourself. Mom was a giver, and this came from her faith, and it was modeled by her parents growing up, and it was something that she did. Most people will hold on to stuff just in case they need it. Like, I got one of those. I can pull that out. I might need it someday, and so I just keep it on a shelf, and people are like that, but my mom never was. And if she had something and somebody needed it, she gave it to them, right? Mom was a giver. And she gave food, she gave time, she gave money, she gave wisdom, whether you wanted it or not, she was going to tell you. She gave you a seat at the table. Sometimes she gave people puppies. That's just kind of what she did. You laugh. I'm serious. The number of puppies she gave away. Mom taught us to give and to include others. And she taught us to do this. She showed us what love in action looks like. Mom practiced her faith by loving others because it's what the Bible told her to do.